What if we could be an inspiration for somebody who wants to do a podcast, but they watching us?
If you want Troy to be your inspiration, comment in the section below. And
that, first of all, I hear a lot of hate in your voice right now. One of the things that the Lord has just showed me that I just can't operate in fear. I can't get on the track and sound like the baby. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Hey, packing a mail, it's gone. Exactly. You like how I smell? Come on.
But
that can't be me.
We have a really big tendency to put others before ourselves, and I have a tendency, even a lot of times, to put you before me.
Shout out to the.
Hey.
My bad. I'm gonna bleep that out.
Because if I can take care of me, then I can do better for us.
No, I'm not perfect. No, I made my mistakes, and no, but all I want is love.
2, 1. What's up, everybody? We're back for another edition of Beauty and the Beard. We have been gone for a minute, and we're so thankful that you're here with us today. I am your host, your boy T. Roy, and my co-host with me today,
Shaka Burnett.
Hey, yes, sir. So we're going to get started. This is our New Year podcast, and just to get started, we're going to talk about some of the things. First of all, before we get into the new year, let's talk about last year first. You know what I'm saying? So last year, what has been really, really big on social media were the memes. I'm talking about, like, they were huge. You got the SpongeBob memes. Just recently, you had the cat memes. Then you had the Ed and Eddie memes. Or was that 2018 that just bleached over? This came over to 2019. I'm not sure. And then what are some other memes they had this year?
There was the meme with the maybe that was the cat meme. The one where the lady would say something. Oh,
yeah, and the cat would say something else. Yeah. I'm gonna pull this out just a little bit in front of you. Yeah, so the microphone can catch you. But yeah, so one of my favorite memes this year, what I would have to say, because everyone's like really on the SpongeBob, not SpongeBob, but the cat meme was the best. I just think the cat meme came at the end of the year. We just kept using it a lot. But personally, my favorites were the SpongeBob. I'm just gonna head out memes. That was my favorite. It was so much one of my favorite memes that I actually created one that said something like you were just gonna like lay in the bed all day, but then you just reflected on the blessings of the Lord and you decided to go to church, and then it's SpongeBob with a suit on and a hat, and he's all right, I'm gonna head on out. Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Because you made that one on a Sunday, I think, that we were thinking about possibly not going to church.
Yeah. And did you have a favorite one, did you?
No.
That's the thing. You're not really on social media.
I'm a meme person, and I'm not really a social media person.
Yeah.
Sometimes Troy has to explain the memes to me for me to understand what they mean.
And that is the worst, because then you look at me like, so who is this person? And it's like, it's not a matter of who the person is. And then you were like, well, what makes this funny? It's like, oh my gosh, because you have to be in a situation.
They're just stupid.
They're not stupid.
And then
they are amazing.
And then sometimes if you don't follow the person, you don't understand why that's significant. And again, like you said, I'm not really a social media buff.
Or yeah. So, if you're not really following, like, you check your Facebook like once a week.
Yeah, because it's Facebook. Who's still on Facebook?
Everybody's on Facebook. What are you talking about?
Isn't Facebook like the old people now?
No, everyone's on. What are you talking about?
Well, that's what the young people said. They're like, y'all still use Facebook?
I mean, that is true. Instagram is probably my second go-to. But Snapchat, that's been my thing. Like, you press Snapchat, like you open it and it's already ready for you to start capturing whatever you're trying to capture.
Yeah, but then if people don't see it within 24 hours, then It's gone.
And so that makes you to log, and they're really smart, because that makes you to log in every day.
Exactly. And that's what keeps people attracted to social media. See, that right there is what creates the people who just spend way too much screen time because they're afraid they're going to miss something.
I've tapped into YouTube a lot this year, like really hard. Now, technically, that's not a social media platform, but it kind of is a social media platform.
Wow.
But there's just a lot of good content of things that are coming up. First of all, just to let everybody know, my what is it? I guess my guilty pleasure is battle rap. I love battle rap.
I was wondering where that was going to go.
I love battle rap. It's probably one of my most favorite pastimes to watch is battle rap. And so I watch a lot of that on YouTube, and it's gotten so big. It's like the battle rap culture has gotten so big to where they even start like having commentators and stuff like that. And it's like, I just love it.
Yeah, it's cool. So last meme comment, social media.
Social media.
Go for it.
What you mean?
What's your last social media comment? And then we'll get on with our years.
Oh wow, I was feeling it. So let me be honest with you. Social media is so awesome. It's kind of like one of the things I want to get into the holiday breakdown, but there is no reason or why we cannot be connected to someone because there's too many platforms for us out there to be able to tap to jump in and communicate with someone. So if somebody were to ever say, "Yo, dog, I couldn't get in contact with you," look, I got an Instagram, I got a Snapchat, I got a Facebook. If you don't have my cell phone number, you can find me somewhere.
This is true. If you use it correctly, you're right. You can definitely connect with people that you wouldn't normally be able to see on a regular basis. Say you're quite a distance apart, it makes the distance smaller, so it's all good for that reason. My negative,
I was waiting for it to come.
I'm gonna give the positive and buff it up, and then I'm gonna tell you why I shoot it down. So you know me, the one thing that communication had back in the day when it wasn't so easy to get a hold of people was you didn't reach out for no reason because it took money in a payphone, so it cost you, your dime, your time, because you literally had one way to get a hold of someone or what have you, or because snail mail just literally moved like a snail and took forever.
You just don't like to be contacted.
My point is, you were purposeful in your communication, and now people use email like they used to use AOL's IM.
Mm-hmm.
No, like to have conversations. So you get emails that are like 1 or 2 liners or one word, yes. And you get phone calls, maybe rarely, but most of the time you get text messages. And it's just annoying because now people are impatient. And so, someone, if you don't see a text message for a while or an email for a while, people are like, I messaged you. Why didn't you see it? Why didn't you respond to me sooner? Why didn't you ever? Because I don't stay on my phone like that. That's why. So that's the one thing. It has definitely made us impatient. We want, you have Insta-famous.
We want instant gratification.
Exactly.
Yeah, we want instant gratification.
And
which I'm all for.
And well,
I am all for
if that's your thing, great. But for those of us who are not, I feel like we shouldn't be bullied into
no one is bullying you into using social media. But we know that people got their device on them at all times. Shaka will not allow me to purchase her a smartwatch. She won't let me purchase a smartwatch because why? What do you call it? She calls it an electronic leash. It's not an electronic. Well, see,
you might as well put a little current in it and electrocute me every time I don't respond or I go too far away.
Here's one of the things you got to understand, though. You don't have to turn on notifications for your said device. I mean, same reason why you got the Bella Bee. It allows you to track your steps. You can get messages if you want to. You can use it for a clock. You can
find out what the weather is to stay connected across the internet, across the network, to make sure that people can get a hold of you. And why else? To know when you get notifications on your phone. So if you turn all those features off, it's just a watch. So why pay $400 or $500 for a smartwatch if you're not going to use it for its smart ability?
I can.
That would be dumb.
We don't have to
Not
pay
smart.
$400-$500. I mean, I can find you on Facebook Market.
But
People trying to sell them all the time.
Another thing too, ladies, you maybe can relate. I change my accessories too often. So, and people say they have different wristbands for the watches and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I'm probably going to wear that watch maybe once a week. And then I'll wear a couple of other watches other days of the week.
If anything that it should draw you into, you of all people know, you can easily accessorize it. And that is by far one of the things you love the most. This is case number 6 for you. And
no.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
How many cases have you had for that one phone?
One.
You've had more than one case for that. How many cases did you initially buy?
One.
You bought more than one case for this phone. And then you settled on one.
No, we had 2. I've had 2. Maybe I've had 2 for this one. I think you and I both went to the store and bought $5 ones. Mm-hmm. And then they broke. Right. Now, the only reason we did that was because we walked out of the store not wanting to pay the money for the more expensive ones. Well, not really not wanting to pay the money, but wanting to find the ones that we actually wanted. And so we're like, this is just a temporary case so that we don't drop our brand new phones and get really angry because we messed them up. And we're going to look for our cases. You, since then, have also replaced your case, sir. How many times?
No. I've had this phone, the phone that we're recording on right now. I was like, where's my phone at? We're recording with
We're recording with 3 phones right now, guys.
We have
3.
My old Note 5.
2 are Troy's.
We have Shaka's old iPhone 7? 6
Plus.
And this is the Note 9 that we're recording on. I just find that the phones are a whole lot easier to record with because they autofocus for you. You don't have to worry with cameras and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're not getting any endorsements for all of it.
We are not.
Called out.
We are not. Not at all. Not at all. Anyway, we can move on from there because we'll be talking about cell phones and stuff all day.
No leash for your girl.
I don't see.
Now that it's been said publicly, my birthday's coming up. I do not want a smartphone
she shall be
for
getting
my birthday.
I know. Smartwatch.
I do not want a smartwatch for my birthday.
It's not a joke.
Nope. Well, I have an iPhone, so you'd have to get me an Apple, and that's going to be. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right, bet. So, if y'all don't know this, we're about to come into the new year. We're coming into the new year.
Excited.
2020. 2019 has come and gone, and it seemed like it went so fast.
It did. Well, no, not for me. 2019 was a challenging year for me, and I just couldn't wait for it to be over. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like it drug on forever and ever for me. And I think a big part of that was because my life was consumed with work, mm-hmm. like actual work. Mm-hmm. And so my days seemed really long. So
and weren't you doing schoolwork too?
No, I didn't do schoolwork this year. In the beginning of the year, I was studying.
Oh, okay. But
I wasn't doing like papers and stuff like that. Work seemed like papers and things like that. Mm. But I am excited for 2020. I'm very, very excited. I just have this feeling it's going to be so different. And
now this isn't like the cliche, this is going to be so different type of thing, like new year, new me. Oh, that's one of the memes too. Just to that, like there's this meme on Instagram and I think Twitter too of this woman who is walking up steps and like each step is something that she's leaving like behind, and in the bag it's got something inside of it. And I just love the interwebs because they know how to make something that's innocent and not make it innocent anymore. Straight comedy. And like, and the real meme is got like, leaving selfishness behind, leaving poverty behind, all that type of stuff. And somebody will take it and flip and be like, leaving my baby daddy behind. And then the things that she's carrying in her bag to the future You know, in previous memes, it'd be like, you know, taking my health, taking my mental stability, my wealth, whatever. And people change it to be like, taking my Hennessy.
Okay. Can we edit that part out? All the stuff that he mentioned.
I love
In other
love
words,
the
they
interweb.
take something that was meant to be lighthearted and for everyone, and
Right.
they make it for specific people.
For your boy. For sheer entertainment.
And stuff that all of a sudden your kids can't see.
So we're excited about 2020. Before we get too deep into that, let's do a recap real quick on what happened this past year. Well, one of the things that happened this past year is we started our podcast.
We did.
We started our podcast this year. And
this is like what, the third one?
This is the fourth one, technically.
Okay.
Now, we've only put out one. Please forgive me. And this is actually one of the things when we get to a little bit later, we can expound upon it a little bit. But be sure to remind me to talk about why those didn't come out. I'm definitely going to talk about those. This is our fourth one. We haven't released the other two. And I'm glad that, you know, we were able to do this. Some people may not know this. The reason why I initiated us doing a podcast, one, I love podcasts. Two, it helps me to work at work. I need some noise in the background. And I was like, I mean, we got a life to share. Let's share our lives with other people. One of the things too is that Shaka and I don't really get an opportunity to like debrief and to like break down exactly like our feelings, our emotions, things that we're going through with one another. And the podcast, like guaranteed, like for an hour, we would download how we feel about certain things and like have it on record. So actually a lot of the stuff that y'all are getting is like, first time we're hearing some of this stuff. I mean, we talk about it every now and then, but we don't really get too deep into it. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to start the podcast. So I'm super duper excited about that, that we started this past year. Anything for you? Anything that exciting that happened this past year for you? I got a few more things too, by the way.
I have to say, I have to think about stuff that was exciting. Again, my life was consumed by work.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff was put on hold for that reason. I think, can't believe I can't remember this. We went on a vacation this year.
We went on vacation. Did we go? We went on two vacations. We went on family vacation.
Yes. That was the highlight
That was
of my
super
year.
duper fun.
And my hubby graduated.
And I graduated,
Yes.
yes. Well, technically,
He walked.
I walked, yeah, because I graduated December last year. I finished all my schoolwork, and then I walked in May, and it was super duper fun. I didn't want to walk initially, but I feel like you told me to.
Yes. If you work all that time getting your degree and you spend all that time in school, sometimes walking is not for you. It's for your family and friends to have an opportunity to celebrate you. And Troy's family is really proud of any of their family members' accomplishments, and they love celebrating weddings, birthdays, any type of a party, graduations, and they show up and they show out.
They do.
So really, I encourage you to do it, not just for you, but also for your family, especially grandma.
Speaking about family showing up and showing out, when I graduated from high school, that was the first time I met some of my relatives.
Not surprised. I think our wedding was the first time I remembered some of my relatives were relatives.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, they came out of the woodworks. Like my dad's side, like they came to my graduation one of them screamed my Uncle Jeff, aka Darnell. I don't know which one is his real name. Let me just go ahead and put that on out there. Jeff or Darnell. I don't know which one is real. But he was screaming, "There go my nephew! There go!" I was like, I got an uncle? I didn't even know that.
We have large families too.
We do have large families.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of, we have extended families.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do. I have a lot of play aunts and uncles, which I love dearly. Hey, Thomas Tabernacle.
Mm-hmm.
And so my family is mesh pot. I guess mesh pot. Melting pot.
Melting pot.
I like hodgepodge better. Hodgepodge
too.
A whole bunch of different families combined into one.
Now, we did do a family vacation. It was the very first family and like cross family vacation we've ever done. Now we've done family holiday, which we'll talk about that in just a second. But this is the first time that we crossed our families together and we went on vacation. My mother, my grandmother, and Shaka's mother, along with us too, we all drove out to Kentucky. I think it was like 7.5 hours. Yeah. And I did both legs by myself. Now, here's the reason why I drove the whole way. And it's no disrespect to anybody. I'm not saying anybody can't drive. I feel more comfortable when I'm driving. And I'm not a good passenger in more ways than one. One, I get sick very easily. Like if I'm sitting in and because I have to entertain myself the whole time while, I could interact with the driver. I could. But that involves me to be mentally tapped in. And I'm not trying to be mentally tapped in. I want to be in my own zone. I feel like travel for me is a good opportunity for me to space out and to, catch up on things that I social media, all that type of stuff. So that, and then but I'm also not a good passenger in the sense of I don't feel safe when someone else is driving. I cringe. I don't understand why people like to drive up on other people's bumpers.
But he drives up on other people's
I do not. No, yes, I don't. I do the 2 second rule. Okay. I do the 2 second rule. You know what the 2 second rule is?
Isn't it like a 2-car rule?
No, it's 2 seconds. Okay. It's 2 to 3 seconds. I remember this distinctly. You pick a landmark that you're passing by and you let the car in front of you pass by it.
Yes.
You count to 2 to 3 seconds. That's the distance you should have between them.
What about at a stop?
At a stop? You talking about like at a stoplight?
Stop, like a stoplight in traffic, whatever.
At a stoplight, I could roll up on you.
See, exactly. And
we stopped though. We stopped though.
From behind you, and you're riding with Troy. Just have on your seatbelt because you're probably going into the back seat of the car in front of you.
That's not true.
It is so true.
Although that did happen.
I'm trying to figure out where that 2 second rule comes into play.
That actually did happen. I was like 17 years old, and I was at a stoplight. And this guy, you could tell he was drunk. He just plowed right into the back of my Ford Escort. I had a Ford Escort. Just rammed right into it. Bam! And I hit the car in front of me. But his truck had more damage than my car, actually. And then the car in front of me, I believe they were strong. And the car in front of me, I believe they were doing something illegal because they took off. We were in a turning lane, and they took off in the right hand. Like they jumped 3 lanes and took a right hand turn. Like I think they were doing something illegal, but anyway.
Or their insurance wasn't up.
That might have been it too. But anyway, I mean, if we come to a stoplight, we came to a stoplight. Anyway, family vacation. That was super duper fun. We went to go see the Ark. And let me tell you this: if anyone is looking for a trip planner or something like that, holla at your girl. She set this trip up. All I said was, I said this. And here's one thing, and this is one of the things I want to take into 2020. I said, babe, this is what I want to do. I want to go to the Ark. We want to get, and I just want to go to the Ark and we'll take our family with us. She planned the van. She got the hotels. She set up the times that we would go to certain places and stuff like that. Like Shaka hooked it up. And that's one thing that I did learn about you. We don't have this on the docket to talk about, but one thing, what did you learn? But I'm just going to jump in anyway. One thing I learned about Shaka this year is, if you give her direction, she's going to run with it. I mean, like and when you don't give Shaka any direction, she begs, help me plan. I need to plan something because Shaka's a planner. I'm not a planner. I'm just a visionary. Like I can see something happening and I'll just go along with it as it goes. But Shaka's like 3, 6, 5, 7, 8 months in advance of planning things. Well, and when going into 2020, that's one of the things I actually, I'm jumping all over the place, but that's one of the things I want to take into 2020 is giving you the opportunity to plan and be successful in doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not really the direction, it's a final answer. I just need confirmation. If you say, I definitely want to do this, you don't even have to tell me what you want to do or how you want to do or whatever. You just have to give me your confirmation that you absolutely want to do it, and then I can go from there. And that's one of the things that my husband and I think we've noticed this about our whole marriage, and in 2020, hopefully we'll apply it. But a lot of times we have great plans for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We say we're going to go on vacation in April. We're going to take a trip on a cruise to wherever. We're going to do something with our finances or, whatever. We have a lot of great plans going into a year. Our execution's horrible.
It is.
And a lot of times it's because we're procrastinators.
Mm-hmm.
And so just being honest, we need to hold each other accountable, and you guys should hold us accountable too. But we tend to procrastinate. And so we get to the wire, and all of a sudden, one, our ideas flow. We were like that with papers too, where we would have all of our best ideas for how to write a paper the night before it was due or the day it was due, and then you just have no time to actually really write a paper. But that's one of the things in 2020 I would love to change. I would love to take a schedule, because we're really good at planning and we're really good at scheduling, but actually carry it out. Like, so we know in April we want to do something,
Yes. So, and that's the reason why I'm glad. Normally I would be annoyed, but I'm glad that you put out that, because I keep saying in 2020 I want to do a cruise, and so you keep putting things out. It's like, all right, now pull the trigger when you trying to go, because if I lock in the time of when, Shaka take care of everything else after that. I'm not looking for you to have to do that, but she desires that. She doesn't mind to do it. That's one of her strengths. Now I will say this though. Not knowing that prior to learning that in 2019, I was always annoyed by you all constantly asking me, so what's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? And I'm sitting up there, I'm like, I don't know what the plan is. And it got annoying to me, and I thought you were just purposely trying to annoy me, but you weren't. No, you were just trying to.
I was trying to include you.
You're trying to include me, and so one thing that I have to realize, and this is one of the things I want to do in 2020, is be more assertive in the decision making that of doing things. Just be like, look, this is what I want to do. This is when I want to do it. Let's plan it together, type of thing. You know what I mean? Versus. Yeah. I think I might want to go on vacation this time. And here's one thing I realized. If you don't, and when I say you, I'm talking about me specifically, but it can apply to a lot of other people too. But if you don't plan out your own personal schedule, someone else will. So if you don't block off a time to go do something and such and such, someone will come along. Hey, you busy around this time? Mm-hmm. Then if not, then hey, I need for you to come do this, or I want you to come do this. And the moment that you start putting plans into on the calendar, and you're saying you start taking off time from work, you already put in your thing. It's like, I'm not available during this time, and people can't intrude upon you. And that's one of the things, man. Me and Shaka, we work so hard. This past year we did work. We're salary, so we would go beyond the hours of working. We picked up Bible study. Yeah. We started leading a Bible study this past year. I
was already doing a ministry.
You were already a part of ministry on top of that.
I had, monthly meetings.
I was, this doesn't really take out a lot of time. It's set every day, but I was working out every morning. Not every morning, I'm sorry. Wednesdays and Fridays. Yeah, a couple times a week. And Saturdays. Yeah. Saturday mornings to go do things and stuff like that. And then we would
trips.
We had trips.
Like work trips, conferences.
Yes. Always every October, every April, sometimes March. And then we would hang out with friends every Wednesday, almost every other Wednesday, something like that. Yeah. And then let's see, what else would we do? And then we had other friends, and we felt so bad because there was a lot of family members that we felt like we wanted to spend more time with this past year, and we just let this time. We didn't set schedules to go see them, and so something filled up that time. Babies. Our God babies, yeah, we have we have 7, 8, 9 God children with one on the way.
We do.
And on top of that, I know I got mad at myself this year. I didn't really get a time to spend time with my sisters or my brother. I did see my brother just recently over Christmas, but
And I didn't get to see my nephews.
you didn't get to see her nephews. I didn't get to see my sisters. I really love them a lot. I did get to see my sister early December when we went down to North Carolina.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think that was early December. That was early December. It was December 9th.
And I really desire to spend more time with them because I didn't get a chance to do that, growing up.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things I think that we've learned. We know this about ourselves, just kind of going back into a little bit about what you said. In the beginning of our marriage, we discovered the concept of final answer. And the fact that I'm a planner, like Troy said, and I have to know what I'm doing and plan it out and work it out, just because there's a lot of details, money usually around it. And Troy speaks out loud. He is a thinker. He's a visionary. And so a lot of times when I'm
a verbal thinker.
Yeah.
I verbally think. Yeah.
So a lot of times when he is saying something, it's just because it's crossed his mind, but just as quickly as it crosses his mind, it leaves and may never come back again. And so because of that, I hear it and I start taking action. I'm like, okay, we need these dates. We need to plan this. I need to contact this person. I need to whatever. And then I'll come back like a few weeks later and say, Troy, just, are you sure you want to do this? And he says, huh?
What are you talking about?
No, I was just talking.
I was just talking out loud.
I've already
booked
the venue, bought the tickets, and Troy. And so we've learned as a couple that we need to be on one accord. And I know, because I know that's the way he processes, and because he understands that's the way I process, we know how to speak to each other. I know when Troy says something, I have to say final answer. And he knows if he hears me say final answer, I'm about to start taking action. And so one of the things I think for us moving forward is we're really good at that part of it. Again, it's the execution. So I think next year, and when I say execution too, I mean, sometimes we will go through all of the motions and then we will let something else take priority. And so that's one of the things in 2020, I think that I would like to see us do differently is make us priority, us over jobs, us over family, us over friends, us over other obligations, because we have a tendency to let our calendar fill up with a bunch of other people's activities.
Yeah.
And we will continuously push our plans to the side.
We give ourselves away to other people and put ourselves to the side. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think I would like to see in 2020 us actually say, these are the plans we have, and they're, with the exception of, there are going to be some things where we have to give way, but I think it would be nice to say, this is more important, like us. And so this other thing has to give way, like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a good bit of that is work.
Yeah, because work does take up time. Like it's specific times of the year where we can't do anything because we have to be at work and stuff like that. So, we eventually have to start doing it for yourself. Like
last year, Troy and I, in 2018, Troy and I spent our anniversary on separate planes.
Going back.
It was our anniversary day. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. It was our anniversary day. I got you.
So Troy and I both had to go to San Diego for work. And
which was super duper fun.
It was super duper fun, but we actually didn't get a chance to enjoy San Diego because we had stuff in the morning and stuff in the evening.
It was my second time
So
out in
our time
Cali.
was limited. And then because of when we booked our tickets, not communicating well, we weren't on the same flight back. Mm-hmm. And so our flights left in the morning and didn't get back till like 11 or so at night. So we got to spend, we did breakfast together and then we got on separate planes and we were in different locations on our anniversary day.
Yeah.
And honestly, that is something that we could have avoided. We could have planned ahead for that. But also again, it was work. Like maybe some extra planning would have said we'll stay in another day or another couple of days and just enjoy San Diego as part of our anniversary trip or whatever. But you know, things like that. October tends to be a really busy month for both of us work
Yeah, work
wise,
wise.
and it sometimes does interfere with our anniversary. And this is our 10-year. I'm not
Yeah.
willing to
So
compromise.
2020 has a lot to come. Like, we're gonna come to that. Finishing up 2019.
Okay.
So we did the family vacation. We went out to Kentucky. We went to go see the Ark. That was super fun. So we did that. Where did we vacation? I don't think we vacationed. Because you said we did.
We went
earlier.
to Outer Banks.
Outer Banks is always cool because it's really laid back. It's not a touristy type of place. It's funny because we stayed at the Dolphin Inn and on like the second to last day there was actually dolphins in the water. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a black man who didn't grow up learning how to swim. So when I saw those dolphins out there, I don't even care if the dolphins was friendly. I got out of there ASAP.
You know, from a
Okay.
distance, a dolphin fin and a shark fin don't look different.
Low key look the same. Only reason why we knew
It's bigger than a fish.
that it was a
Like a
dolphin
catfish.
and not a shark is because when you saw the fin, a couple times they went down and they came back up and they blew water out the blowhole. But
At some point, just by the way they moved, you could tell they weren't sharks. And then it's called Dolphin Motel, so I believe there's a reason
Dolphin
for that.
Inn, babe.
Yeah,
Get it
Dolphin
right.
Inn.
One thing I didn't like about it is that our hotel was right on. Well, I liked about it. The hotel was right on the beach. You could walk right out, but there was no way of getting the sand off of you going back into your hotel room, and then you basically tracked sand. And that's the reason why they had those brooms and the
In the corridor.
dustpan. Yeah,
Yeah,
because they knew you was gonna get sand in there.
and that's another reason too why it was just linoleum flooring
Right.
and stuff like that, because it's easy to sweep. That's the thing. And one day we'll have to do a podcast on the difference between Troy and I. And I think we should
on
caption
what?
it like City and Country.
What's that supposed to
Or
mean?
something like that. Well, because I love.
Look me in the eye when you talk trash about me.
I'm not talking trash about you. No. It's not trash, and it's actually not a put down or let down either. But it's the one thing, and this will be a great 10-year one too, just to put it out there.
You talking about the hotel, the choice of hotel?
Well, let me finish.
Well, say it.
So, the one thing that I've noticed in the years we've been married is the difference in preferences between you and I. Like I think I am what people would consider high maintenance.
Bougie.
Okay. Yeah, bougie. I have no problem saying that. I am bougie. I'm not stuck up, and I am friendly, and I love everyone. So socially I'm not, but I have my preferences. Would I prefer a hotel or a motel? I definitely prefer the hallway. So a hotel.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
But here's the thing. We were tight on money. And
I'm not saying anything about
because I didn't like the hotel either.
no
the motel. I didn't like the motel either.
No.
It was all right.
So the motel was great. It was really great, but it's kind of one of those things like Troy mentioned. They knew it was impossible to completely clean it. And so because of that, it had nothing to do with the fact that it was a motel. It had everything to do with the fact that it was on the beach. And so they have the hotel, just like when you stay at Myrtle Beach and you stay in the high tower hotels, same thing. They know that you're going on and off the beach. So the elevators tend to be nasty or just hot. There's not a lot of care when it comes to keeping up the appearance of the hotel itself, because they know, one, that people aren't coming there to stay in the room. That's the assumption. And two, you're going from, back and forth from the beach. So you're bringing in water, you're bringing in sand, you're bringing in shells. So why would you constantly vacuum the carpet or even have a carpeted floor if it's going to be that way? So that was the thing. When I take a shower, I want to be clean, and I hated the fact that after I took a shower, no matter where you walked, there was still tons of sand on the ground, and it just it made the floor feel dirty, and it made the bed feel like you just couldn't stay clean. Other than that, it was great.
It was great. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, so then let's move on. Thanksgiving, we did collaborative Thanksgiving. Once again, we brought our families together, and we had to be really quick. We are at 40-some minutes right now.
Oh.
But we brought our families together. Shaka's uncle from California came out. He was super excited. He was more excited about it than we were, kind of a little bit. Shaka's aunt came down. Shaka's mom came down. My mother, grandmother, and uncle were all in and this is the second time we've hosted Thanksgiving here. And it was really good. One thing that Shaka's aunt said, and we were all joking. I was like, look, in 2020, we not hosting. 2021, we coming to y'all. Oh, no, 2020, we gonna go on vacation. 2021, we coming to y'all. In 2022, we'll have it again here. And they was like,
Troy said once every 3 years.
Yeah, and they were like, y'all all special. And they was like, this is my getaway. I want to come here and get away. But that was probably one of the most satisfying things, because here we are. These are the people that we looked up to growing up. Like, they set the vacations. They set up like the summer times and stuff like that. They used to cook our meals and things of that nature. And here we are, all due to the blessings of the Lord, that we're able to have a house and host the very things that they used to do for us. And now they look to us as being like a rest haven and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say it was kind of like a feeling of, oh, we made it type of thing, but I don't want to be braggadocious, but it did my heart. So it did my heart well to be able to do good for those who have been doing really well for us for all the years that we've been alive. And that you never, when you're a kid, you don't think about stuff like that. But to be able to provide a house, a place to stay, and coordinate a whole meal and stuff like that was amazing.
The irony is, you said we didn't get a chance to do a lot of family things,
Mm-hmm.
and we did two of the biggest family things we've done in the whole time we've
That
been in a
is true.
relationship.
That is true.
Taking our mothers on a trip,
Mm-hmm.
literally, and having our family at our house for Thanksgiving. Plus, our family came to our house for your graduation.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
So we did 3 big family things.
Yeah.
And then when it came to Christmas, this is something that a lot of people may not agree with. We actually did separate Christmases. Now, catch me on this. There was a lot of family things that were going on. It's another family thing. A lot of family things that were going on. My great aunt in New York was turning 80. And Shaka wanted to go home and do Christmas with her mom on Christmas Day. And so I went to New York, Shaka went to Maryland, and then we met together Christmas night in Martinsville, Virginia, which is where my grandmother lives. And the reason why we generally go there, well, I'm gonna tell you why I go there. My grandmother is a big influential part of my life, and so she her birthday is on the 25th, and I just want to be there to celebrate her birthday with her. And so Shaka was in Maryland that day, celebrating with her mother, and I could have been with her, but I really just want to be with my grandma. I'm not saying I'm not saying it was perfect, but it did work out. Shaka did share with me a little bit later on that we struggle with compromise. Is that basically what it was? And I planned late.
No, yeah, that too.
I did plan. I decided to go to New York 3 days, a week before. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I was going home. I had said that weeks before that I was going home, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that he didn't plan to go, it was he didn't finalize his plans until the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I love your family, all of them. Both sides are absolutely amazing. I've said this before, I couldn't have married into a better family. I have no dramatic in-law stories.
We got some outlaws though.
I don't know what he's talking about. But but they're absolutely amazing. I have a great time, and I do love when we go down there because it is relaxing. They're just so hospitable and loving, all sides. It doesn't matter if it's the Burnett, the Spencer, whatever it is. I love, love, love my husband's family. And so, like he said, a lot of his family has birthdays in December. And so it's a given. It's a given that I willingly knew when we got married that Christmas time was probably going to mostly be in Martinsville. But as a result of it, usually what happens is we might go home be with my family and leave on Christmas Eve just so we can be back in time for Grandma's birthday on Christmas Day. And so I have not spent a Christmas Day with my family since we've been married. And we're going on 10 years.
Yeah.
And so I actually wanted to have a Christmas Day with my family. And so that was the challenge, because it was like, what do we do? Do we do that together? It's like a 5-6 hour drive just to get from where I'm from to where he lives. And so we had to compromise. We thought we had to compromise. The conversation we had was, if it ever comes to something like that again, to me, it's more important that we're together. And so we could have thought of something that didn't have us separated on Christmas Day. We almost missed our first Christmas together because we both wanted to be with our families. And so I said the challenge was that we really should have thought of a solution that didn't involve such a big compromise.
Yeah.
But and I thought of the solution when I was gone, but that was it.
And I'll be honest with you, it's probably going to be another tough one this upcoming 2020. We're going to figure it out. But we got 12 months to figure it out. We can start working on it now. We got 12 months to figure it out.
It's not a tough one.
I mean, well, here's the thing.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Because I have family traditions that is really hard for me. I just started a tradition probably like 3 or 4 years ago with some guys that are locally in the city of Martinsville and stuff like that. And those are things that I'm holding tight to. But,
Yeah, but those are, just looking at you, those are some of the things when I was saying that we need to make sure we're putting ourselves first in some areas. Tradition doesn't mean that you're not going to get struck by lightning if you miss it one year or if you don't do it. And I think that's one of the challenges. Our traditions basically, when we think of the church and we think of people being traditional and the fact that they need to be able to let certain things go and change certain things and be okay with other things, what have you. And then we in our lives have traditions that we can't let go of. The tradition then becomes a rule, and the rule becomes binding. And you start to feel that if you break the tradition, you somehow gone against everything that you believe or that you hold dear or what have you. And that's not always true. So instead of saying, I won't do this, the solution should be, how can I work around this? Or maybe, is this something that has to happen this time around? It doesn't mean I won't circle back to it. But that's another thing too, like a conversation for you guys who are married with or without children. Our biggest thing is we don't have kids.
We don't have kids.
And so there's
we
a lot of
created our own tradition.
Exactly. Yet. And that's what I was going to say. Like, at what point do you, as a married couple, create your own traditions?
Mm-hmm.
And as much as you want to. And then another thing too is when you get married, you're actually merging two traditions. So should there be one tradition that carries more precedence than the other?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there should be. It's a compromise.
Ooh.
So technically,
we're gonna have to talk about that.
Yeah, as a married couple, we should probably have three traditions. The one with his family, the one with my family, and the one that we create together.
That is facts, though. I ain't mad at you. That is facts. I just realized I could really be more in the frame if I would really wanted to be.
You don't have to mention that. These are things that Troy notices and Troy calls out.
I mean, I'm
out there.
Hey, I'm just trying to keep it real with the people who are watching it right now. They probably don't care. But what if we could be an inspiration for somebody who wants to do a podcast, but they watching us?
If you want Troy to be your inspiration, comment in the section below. And
first of all, I hear a lot of hate in your voice
I'm gonna
right now.
love reading those
I hear
comments.
a lot of hate in your voice right now. All right, hold on.
Wade, where are you?
Which
Comments.
Who's Wade? Oh, your boy Wade. So moving along. So a lot of things also happened this past year. I mentioned all the things that we did earlier. I also jumped in on another podcast, and this is actually moving into 2020. So the question is, what are some things that you're trying to take into the year 2020? So probably in the last 3 months, maybe 4 months of 2019, I jumped in on someone else's podcast that stemmed from a conversation that happened on a controversy that happened in America. And we started a podcast. I started talking on this podcast, and then I started producing on my friend Obey Adiake. His podcast is called The Podyssey. Go check it out. And I started doing like stuff behind the scenes and stuff like that. And here it is. I worked on his 4 different podcasts. Each one eating up at least 8 hours of my time. So imagine that's 4 times 8. That's 32 hours of my personal time working on that stuff. And here we are. We were sitting on 2 unpublished podcasts for us. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like a lot of the reason why it was easy for me to do the stuff for Obey and not the stuff for us. For Obey, I did a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and so it was going to be content that he was releasing for himself. But for us, it was like, yo, this is me. This is stuff that I'm, what if people don't like it? That affects me immediately. And one of the things that the Lord has just showed me that I just can't operate in fear. Like all of last year, 2019, I struggled. I did make some music, but I struggled making more music than what I could have made because I'm just afraid that people won't say. There's a whole lot of things against me. One, first of all, I do inspirational / Christian hip hop. And so a lot of my friends are not necessarily in that genre, and they may, I'm thinking they're going to judge me because of that. 2, your boy's 35. And you see people commenting saying stuff like, man, if you 30 and 40 years old still making music, you need to go ahead and give it up. Well, I've never really I did start like a long time ago, but not as a solo artist. You know what I mean? You got a joke?
Not a joke. I think of the movie that has Gabrielle Union, where she says, if I see another 40-year-old in a jersey, I'm going to scream.
See, and that's the thing. I think we do ourselves a disservice when we put limitations on people of things that they can do and content and stuff like that. I believe that I have a gift to share with people. And I think the moment that I allow people to hinder me to share the gift, that's the moment where I look at the gift giver in the face and say, I don't think it's worth it. When he gave me the gift specifically to share with people. And so here's the thing. It's going to be some people that I don't reach. It's going to be some people I do reach, whatever. But the gift has to be used. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up like the one guy in the parable that, buried his gift, and then his master came back and called him wicked and slothful. Mm-hmm. And those are the 2 things that I don't want to be called, is being lazy and being wicked.
Yeah, and the encouragement for you in that, I mean, I made a comment to the movie because in the movie it was funny. But a big part of what I think she was saying about the character was, you have a person who is still trying to do what they used to do the way they used to do it.
Right.
And so obviously we also know that as we get older, it doesn't mean we can't do some of the stuff that we used to do before, but now how does it look for you as a 35-year-old? Mm-hmm. Maybe your style isn't the same as, or your content even, as when you were single, when you were still in college, when you were 21, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What does a 35-year-old man have to say? What's his no? See,
And I laugh because
what's his message?
But there's
like,
a message.
What's your message?
I can't get on the track and sound like the baby. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Hey, packing the mail, it's gone.
Exactly.
You like how I smell? Come on.
But that
that can't be me.
That's the thing. And the great part about it is now at this stage in your life, you have a chance to reinvent yourself. You know, it's kind of like, all right, so.
That's my baby depression.
I know. Don't ever do that again. But that's kind of, I think, how you should look at it now. Not looking at, because when people make fun of people who still do stuff, I think they make fun of them because people are still trying to do stuff as if they were the age they were before, living the lifestyle they were before. And you get respect when you make it your own. So what does that look like for you?
What's one thing you're trying to go into 2020 with?
More me. I mean, honestly, more me. I, just like my husband, have a tendency to, and if you didn't catch it from everything that I've said so far, we have a really big tendency to put others before ourselves. And I have a tendency, even a lot of times, to put you before me, which is not a bad thing, but like, I try to be very, very considerate of people and what they want. And I try to be inclusive and get people's opinions and stuff like that to make sure that the people have a voice. And the challenge is a lot of times it winds up being hindering. It means that I might be delayed in getting something done, or I might not do something at all because I don't feel like I have a consensus. And there are definitely, I have a very, very big bucket list. I do. And I'm going to turn 40 in in 31 days.
What? You gonna be how old?
I'll be 4.
How old does she look?
40 and
she
fabulous.
She does not look 40 at all.
And honestly, I'm still young. I really am. I'm still able to do a lot of things. I still have a lot of, I think, great ideas. And I would love to use the next several years doing those things, making it happen, because I know for some of it at some point, it's not going to be impossible, but it might not be as easy.
That is true.
You know.
Now, we do say we are still young, but our joints and our muscles don't be feeling like it sometimes.
That's our fault. Because
that is our fault.
We've become homebodies. Troy and I used to be very active, always on the road, on the go, for no reason, no purpose. And because our lives have picked up so much in terms of the content,
sometimes
like how busy they are.
Chill.
Yeah, when we get a chance to come home, we come home and we do
just
nothing.
Watch Netflix.
Yep, we Netflix and chill for real.
Here's one thing we're going into 2020 with. We're actually getting our own Netflix account.
We're gonna edit that part out.
Now look, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. How many of us have shared an account with somebody else?
So, thank you to all of those who have contributed to my husband's screen time.
Shout out to the.
Hey.
Oh, my bad. I'm gonna bleep that out.
Thank you. So we appreciate you all, but yes, this is another grown folk move.
Grown folk move.
Not just a grown folk move, but the Lord would like for us to follow the rules.
Yeah.
I
don't think he really care about Netflix.
Ooh. Can we say accountability?
Accountability. Hold your boy to it. One other thing about 2020 that I mentioned a little bit earlier is I do want to be more solid in my planning. And one of the things I have to get over, and I know we're at an hour right now.
You don't have to call it out.
I know, but I'm calling it out for both of us. Let's wrap it up in probably in the next 5. One of the things that I want to do as far as the reason why I want to be more assertive with my planning and things of that nature is because I just totally went blank. Wow. I want to be assertive with my planning because, oh man, why do I want to be assertive with my planning? Help me. Why do I want to be assertive with my planning?
Because it would make your wife happy.
It will make my wife more happy.
Because it'll make you more productive.
It does make you more productive. That was not one of the reasons, but that is definitely a good reason. Because when you have a plan, you work towards a plan. Even if you miss it, you still work towards it.
Yep.
Yeah, most definitely.
Also, you plan out your schedule better, so you're able to fit more in.
Yes.
A lot of times the reason why we can't get things done like we want to is because we procrastinate, and then we're trying to do too much at once and something has to give. But if you plan it well, and you can be spontaneous.
Right.
It doesn't mean that we're not spontaneous, but there are things that we know projecting forward that just have to be planned, again, because of finances, because of time. Like one of the things when my husband was talking about doing the podcast and being able to focus on someone else's podcast better than he can for his own, I would like to also add, I think part of that too, and this is part of why planning the trip with the family happened the way it did, was when you're not just planning for yourself, you realize that you're
affecting other people.
Exactly. And so other people's time, other people's money, investment, other people also have input and expectations. And so and it's accountability. And I think what we're saying is we are probably not really good at being accountable to each other because we let each other slack.
We do.
But other people hold us to it.
And so let me jump in before I forget it. So part of the reason why I want to be more assertive with planning is because I've fallen into this false ideology that there is the way to do something. And so because there is the way, it can't be the way that I'm thinking because I came up with it on my own. Mm-hmm. There has to be like some cookie cutter type of rule following book, you know what I'm saying, that I need to stick to in order to, make sure I'm doing things well. And I've realized that over the past couple of years, a lot of things didn't happen because there was a rule. Somebody thought about something and they acted upon it. I was just thinking, I got an honor back in April. I got appointed to a position, and being a part of it, like I'm pitching ideas to the group and they're like, man, that's a great idea. Why don't you go ahead and work on that? But I'm thinking to myself, it can't be a great idea. I thought about it, but who's to say? Like Troy has the ability to have some great ideas, and I've fallen to, like, for lack of better words, this false humility of thinking that I'm less than what I actually am. And like I said before, I've been given a lot of talents, a lot of abilities. I'm willing to learn some things because in the midst, I'm so glad I was working on the other podcast because it allowed me to learn things for our podcast. Come on, somebody, and be able to apply it here. And so with those abilities, like I can't be afraid of the possibilities that I have if I just act on some of the ideas that I actually have. So this podcast was just like an idea that we had, and from the first one we got a lot of great feedback. And so our hope is to continue to do it so that we can be a blessing to somebody else with the gifts and talents that we have. I love to talk. Shaka wants to talk. And so, this is a great avenue for us. So that's part of the reason why I want to do more planning. Anything else as far as going into 2020?
So I think, again, my biggest thing for 2020 is just to be more I don't want to say more adventurous, but actually to execute some things a little bit better, whether it's getting the house together because we still haven't fully moved into this house that we've had now for 2 years, whether it's, trips or starting something new. I like to read a couple of books. I have some great books, and I've discovered audiobooks, which is great. Not the app, but like the idea of an audiobook. But I would like to actually hold a book in my hand and sit and read because
Mm.
it requires my entire focus and
Yeah.
attention.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I've discovered, and I honestly I thought it was age, and I'm learning it's not. Um, my life for the past 2 years has been extremely stressful, and I've had a lot of I've been overwhelmed. So much to the point of where my brain is exhausted. And I mean literally feels, if you could imagine your the how you feel when you don't get enough sleep, and then all of a sudden it's like you're aware of where your brain is sitting in your head because you can kind of feel it, like feel a little burn, feel a little tired. It's harder to focus, harder to think, that kind of stuff. And I find that I live whole days that way.
Mm.
And I think part of it is because of a lot of screen time. So, for us, we are administrators. So we're, again, with technology and the way to talk to each other, not being the phone now, but being computers. We are on the computer answering emails all day long. We come home and we work, we're watching TV or on our phones, whatever. I mean, you get a lot of screen time in a day. And I don't think or process as quickly as I used to.
Mm.
And I feel like if I had other ways to work my mind, I would be able to process like I could before, maybe not to the capacity of I did. I mean, I'm in college,
Mhm.
so obviously I'm still using my brain, thinking, testing, writing papers, whatever, but literally to be able to problem solve and decision making, whatever. So 2020, I think I learned about myself that it's not my age, it's actually, self care. That's it. 2020 will be a year of self care for me. A year of literally just stepping back and reevaluating what's important to me and trying to make sure, because if I can take care of me, then I can do better for us. It'll make me a lot more, it'll make me stronger for us, able to think better for us, a better advocate for us,
Mm-hmm.
Things like that, because I'll be more aware
Sure.
and more determined and stuff. So 2020, definitely a year of self-care.
Mm. Hey, I wrote down some of the things that you were saying, so don't think that I wasn't paying attention. I was writing down some of the things that you were saying, so it could be some of the things that, one, we could be praying for, and two, let's just go ahead and close out in prayer.
Okay.
You cool with that?
Yeah. What about you, 2020?
I already said my things. I want to be more assertive with planning, let go of fear, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Just wanted to
I mean,
make
there's
sure.
some other things too, but
Some of these podcasts that you guys have not seen yet will reveal a whole lot. So stay tuned. You're going to learn a lot about the Burnett's in 2020.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, that you would have learned in 2019 had we released the podcast.
I would like to also bring in some guests too.
Yeah, definitely. But it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a very open year for both of us.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Let's pray. Lord, we come to you right now as we are entering, or we're already into 2020, depending on when this podcast comes out. But if we're already here, Lord, we're praying that we have left all the fear, all the process of us not focusing on you in the past. And Lord, we pray that we move into 2020, that we can be more assertive in our planning, Lord, that we can make sure that we make time for us, because we make time for everything else, but we do need time for us. And the reason why we need time for us is because we need to take the time out to process mentally, and to also for self-care, because if we can do better for ourselves, we can do better for others, because we'll end up loving our neighbor as we love ourselves. And so as we move into 2020, give us clear vision, Lord. And we pray that we will not stray away from you. It's in your holy son's name we pray. Amen. Are you going to pray too?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And dearly Father, I just pray for the individuals who are listening and watching this podcast, Lord God, that for them 2020 will be a year of a rude awakening, Lord God. Anything that they didn't learn in 2019, I pray you will show them and make it clear in 2020. And anything that they learned in 2019, I pray they will take that knowledge and that wisdom and that know-how into 2020, and that it will be a better year for them. I pray for each family, Lord God, that you would strengthen them in 2020, help them to grow, help people to start out the year strong and end the year even stronger, Lord God. And so I just pray for our friends and our family listening, and everyone who's watching. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Peace. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hey, kiss.
Kisses. Mwah.
Love you.
2020.
Peace.
Love you.